Have you ever needed to dig a big hole in Minecraft? Well, the fastest and arguably most fun way to do it is by using TNT Duper flying machines. In today's video, I'm going to show you one of the easiest and cheapest designs you can make. So here is everything you will need to make this TNT Duper flying machine. It only requires 9 slime blocks, 1 piece of TNT, and 1 dead coral fan per flying machine. As always, with these tutorials, I'll be building this in survival mode as a more accurate way to show you how you'll be doing this yourself in your own world. First, a little bit of prep. You'll want to make sure that in the area that you plan on using these, that the ground is relatively flat, and that you build the flying machines at a high enough Y level so that stray TNT doesn't fly up and destroy your redstone machine. This may include a bit of extra prep on your end before you can blow things up, like getting rid of trees or mining down some taller hills. You'll also want to get rid of any bodies of water, including small ponds. Now, once you've found the ideal Y level, which by the way can vary depending on what biome or even dimension you're in, but as long as you think of these two things, you'll be fine. First, you'll want to make sure that you're 10 or more blocks above the highest point that the flying machine will pass over, and you'll want to make sure that you aren't too high up, otherwise the TNT could explode before it ever hits the ground. Now, with all of that prep out of the way and your Y level decided, we'll start with the TNT Duper because it's really easy and you'll want to make sure that you do this exactly how I show you, otherwise the machine could fire early, and if you've been watching my Pleasantcraft series, you know just how dangerous these things can be. Start by placing your TNT and make sure that this is above a spot that you're okay with blowing up. Then place your wall on top of the TNT and an observer facing the direction you want the machine to fly towards, diagonal of the TNT, like this. Now you're going to make these 2 L shapes using slime blocks, one off the back of the observer like this and another higher up off the first L. Now the detector rail and the minecart goes here facing the wall, and the coral fan goes down below the L right here. Don't worry if it's not dead coral right away, but you do want to make sure that it's dead before firing, otherwise the TNT Duper won't work. It dies quickly though, so you probably won't have to worry about this anyway. So for the actual flying machine part of this, you're going to place a sticky piston facing off the back off of this lowest slime block, then build a large upside down L, and another sticky piston off the top of that facing the front. It should look like this so far. Now, we're actually going to build the return stations before finishing the flying machine. That way, it doesn't fly off early until you flip a switch and actually want it to start. The way we'll do this for the first return station is by placing your obsidian on the back and the top of this L shape. Then, scaffold up near the top and place an observer facing the flying machine on top of the obsidian with a block out the back of that observer. This is going to detect when the flying machine arrives and send a redstone signal to fire the machine back in the other direction. But because we want to turn it on ourselves, make an on-off switch by placing a lever at the bottom of this block and flipping it on. Then place redstone dust on the block and a repeater on the observer set to 2 ticks, and a trapdoor on the repeater by holding shift and right-clicking. You can use any trapdoor, it doesn't have to be iron, but I use iron so that you don't accidentally open or close the trapdoor, which would send the flying machine off. Now, the final step here is to place an observer facing up towards that trapdoor, but if you want to stay on the extra cautious side, save this step for the very end. For the return station on the other side of your perimeter or hole or whatever it is that you're digging, this will need to be at the exact Y level that you made the first part. And then you just want to make sure that it's lined up exactly with the flying machine on either the X or Z coordinate. Use your coordinates on the F3 screen to help you figure this out. You'll start by making a backwards L shape using your building blocks. I know there's a lot of L's in this tutorial, but you and I can both get a dub if you leave a like on this video. Anyway, put a repeater here set to 2 ticks facing towards the flying machine, and 2 redstone dust on the other 2 blocks. Place the trapdoor on the front block below the repeater, then place 1 more building block on top of the trapdoor. Now, place a temporary block on this side of that building block that you just placed, then place an obsidian block on top of that, and an observer facing the temporary block. It should make this redstone dust turn into the observer. And now you can mine that temporary block and it should open and close the trapdoor. The final step is to go back and, if you didn't before, place that observer that faces the trapdoor on the flying machine. Then get rid of the temporary blocks underneath the TNT Duper. I'd recommend keeping some of these blocks, however, just to make turning on the flying machines and cleaning up afterwards much easier. And now you're done. If you like this video, consider checking out this video where I show you 4 really great designs for shulker loaders and unloaders, or if you want to see these types of flying machines in action, go check out this episode of my Pleasantcraft series. It's a lot of fun.